Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here or you've been here before but have not subscribed yet, please do so, along with hitting that thumbs up button for me and dropping your comments. Love to hear everything you guys feel about the Knicks and the current state of the situation. Things are dire right now, so I definitely want to hear your thoughts and feelings about just the situation and about this video itself. And please share the video to any Knicks fans that you know. It'd be great to continue to grow the channel. As the season is winding down, possibly, the Knicks have put themselves officially on the brink of elimination. They are down 1-3 to the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. And the question remains, is the season basically over? What are the chances? Well, there are some chances. I'm going to go over that, and we're going to look at what happened last night. And we're going to look at how the Knicks can correct their mistakes and actually become the 14th team to come back in a playoff series after being down 1-3. It's happened. We can do it. The main thing that needs to happen is a mindset change. That is the most important pivotal thing, and I'll explain what that is in a little bit. But first, let's get down to discussing how the Knicks, what is the current situation for the Knicks right now? So right now, Pacers are up 3-1. The Knicks have only won game 3. They were up. They had game 1 basically locked up. They were up 9 with less than a minute to go. Everybody remembers that now. And they lost it in overtime, where they were also up in overtime. And then game 2, once again, it was down to a final possession. Brunson could have tied it and could have sent this game into overtime. Well, who knows what could have happened? He could have gotten fouled. He could have pulled it out. But in this case, they ended up losing 114-109. Both of those were at home. And that is one of the most difficult things to handle with this whole series. The Knicks, if they had just split one of those 2 games at home, they'd be coming back home tied 2-2. Last night was actually the first game where you can say one team definitely beat the other team, and that was the Indiana Pacers. They played a very good game last night. They had a big effort from Benedict Mathurin, but Tyrese Halliburton had basically a flawless game. Just scored. He was the leading rebounder, leading assist guy, triple-double, and made 0 turnovers. Where on the other hand, the Knicks, they were a turnover machine. We're going to get into that, but I want to show this first. I showed it last night in the recap. It's really appalling that your coach has to give you this kind of speech when you're in the Eastern Conference Finals and you're down 1-2 at this moment. He said, "No jog. They're trying to catch us on the run. Sprint, sprint, sprint. Come on, man. Come on. Communication. Prioritize the ball. The ball should not be left unguarded. You're better than that." That was Thibs in the huddle. And he's right. And then here we have in the post-game Cat's thoughts right here. He says, "We've been a team that's found a way to do the impossible. We just keep fighting. It's going to be a testament to our whole playoff run. Now we have to be one of the biggest Now we have to be in one of the biggest fights of our lives." That's Cat on game 5 coming up. But he wasn't the only one expressing all of these concerns. Thibs, after game 4, said, "Some of the plays, they're 50-50. They can go either way. I'm looking. He's taking charges and he's getting called for blocks." The Knicks coach said, "I don't care what the officiating is saying. I've studied this league a long time. I know what a charge looks like." Yes, and we'll get into that when I show you the videos, the clips that I've pulled together. It's the end of the second quarter and the beginning of the third quarter. Then I have late third quarter. I have the mid fourth quarter and late fourth quarter. I'm going to go over it with you guys. And there were a lot of mistakes made by the refs that definitely impacted the Knicks while they were trying to make their comeback in that game last night. It is frustrating. It is frustrating, but the Knicks did get to the free throw line a lot. So, but they definitely blew some calls, and I will show you those. And then Mitch, after game 4, he said, I'm going to start off with myself. Feel like I got off to a slow start, especially in the first half. Started to pick it up in the second. I can't allow that, especially at the time right now. Just got to be better from the jump. Now, Mitch did start. He only played 19 minutes last night. Why Thibs drifted away from a unit that has given, now I'm not talking about the new starting unit, but a unit with Mitch in it. Why he drifted away from that is a big question. But Mitch definitely should have been in this game in the fourth quarter when the Knicks needed to get stops, to string stops together. I know that in game 3, they were able to do it with Cat on the floor. But what Cat was, the players that Cat was with on the floor last night was the starting unit that has played the whole year. And that starting unit has been a sift on defense. They just do not stop anybody. So Thibs, he deviated from what works in game 3, and then somehow inexplicably played Josh Hart 36 minutes. Somehow played him 36 minutes. I don't understand that, but we will get into that too. And then Josh Hart himself, after game 4, he said, it's tough to win against a team like that who turns those turnovers into points. I had like 4 or 5 just stupid turnovers that you can't have. That leads to easy baskets. That leads to momentum. We got to be more careful with the ball, starting with myself. All right. You know what? The most important thing about change is understanding what you've done wrong yourself and taking responsibility for that. So it was good to hear him say it. Still was frustrating to see him do it. Man, that was inexplicable. Probably the worst double-double game. I don't even care what his stats were. He was a negative. He had a severe negative impact on this team and their ability to hold on to a little lead, to tie the game, and then to overcome it and take a lead. He constantly was shooting the team in the foot with his play. And then Brunson, he said a lot of them, when he was asked, what can you do? What can you do? He said a lot of them are stuff that we can control. As a team, we just need to tighten the screws when it comes to that and just being aggressive. If they were aggressive turnovers, that would be different. But passive turnovers are just not us. And there were basically just tossing the ball right at Indiana players. Several times, the Knicks committed 19 turnovers, which resulted in 20 points for the Pacers. They were, it's just shocking to even say it. And the Knicks lost by 9. But also, Pacers turned 5 of Hart's turnovers into 8 points on the other end. And the Knicks lost by 9. So you can see how key, instrumental, and punishing, debilitating those turnovers were in this particular game. And the Knicks were historically, actually, they started off the season being very, very stingy with turnovers. They were in the top in terms of the fewest turnovers in the league. They've drifted, but they're still in the top 10 of that. They averaged about 13 something during the season. Last night it was 17. They've been up to 18 before. That just cannot happen. It literally kills your rallies, and it sparks their momentum. Sparks the Pacers' momentum. They feed off of it. They get out on the fast break. The Knicks committed 2 turnovers in the first 2 offensive possessions of the second half. Right? When you're down 5, they commit 2 turnovers immediately, one by Brunson and one by Bridges, and it ignited a 7-0 Pacers run. And then the lead went up to 12. I mean, the deficit went up to 12. The lead for the Pacers went up to 12. And then, again, playing from behind. And I'll get into all the particulars about that. Now the Knicks need to reel off 3 straight wins to advance. Can it be done? Can it be done? Well, I believe it can. Let's look at this over here. I believe it can be done, and this is why. One of the reasons why. They have a 4.4% chance of pulling this off. 283 teams. How many teams have won after having a 3-1 lead? 283 teams have won. That's a 95.6% chance. How many teams have recovered from a 1-3 deficit? 13 teams. So the Knicks are looking to become the 14th team. That's a 4.4% chance. Very small, but there is a chance. There is a chance. And it starts with the next game. It starts with game 5. Knicks win game 5, their chances increase. But interestingly to note here, if you look down below, details by playoff round. This is landofbasketball.com. In the finals, in the NBA finals, only once has a team come back from being down 1-3. But in the conference finals, it's happened 3 times. 3 times. That's a 6.4% chance. Not that that matters, but it must be some kind of because you're talking about the 4 best teams remaining. So obviously those teams deserve to be there. They have the ability to switch it up and overcome their mistakes and make corrections, make adjustments. Usually they're teams that have superstars on them that can deliver big games. And actually, let me show you this. So this is the last time it happened, and it was the Denver Nuggets who pulled this off. The Denver Nuggets it was in the bubble though. It was in the bubble during the COVID or whatever. But in the first series, the first round against Utah, and I'm looking at Utah because Utah was a little more similar in some respects to the Pacers, except for the Rudy Gobert factor. But they had Donovan Mitchell, high flying, super athletic superstar. He was lighting them up. The Denver Nuggets won game 1 in overtime, 135-125. Knicks lost game 1. But they were at home. And that's another reason why I'm looking at that first round series right there. And then they lost the next 3. Lost the next one at home. Game 2 was at home. And then they went on the road and lost both of those on the road, where the Knicks won the first game on the road in this series. And the Knicks have been very good in this series on the road in general. And they got spanked in game 3, the Nuggets did, by Utah. Utah spanked them 124-87. We haven't had a real spanking yet in this series. Last night was the closest, and that was by 9. Then in game 5, they went back home, and they took care of business. They won 117-107. Now, let's look at here, 117-107. Here's the keys. The keys were, well, they kind of contained all the other Utah Jazz players here. Donovan got his 30 points. He shot almost 48%. He shot 4 of 8 from the three-point line. So he did his job. It was right there. But the rest of the guys were somewhat contained. Knicks are going to have to do something like that again. And then you look at what the Nuggets did. Look at this. They had a big monster game from their point guard, Jamal Murray, 42 points, and 31 points from their MVP, Joker. And off the bench, they got 15 high-efficiency points from Michael Porter Jr., who shot 3 of 7 from the three-point line, almost 43%. He provided that spacing for them, and they were able to win it 117-107. So they needed a big game from their superstar. We have 2 superstars that are very similar to Jokic and Murray in terms of how they can just go off on a team. So it's right there. This is the blueprint. Then when you look at game 2, Nuggets win that one resoundingly by 12, 119-107, and that is on the road. They went on the road in game 6 and won that game. And in this game, Jamal Murray once again goes crazy and delivers a 50-burger right there. Jokic, 22 points for him, 9 assists, only 4 rebounds for Jokic in this game. There weren't that many rebounds because no one was missing. The team as a whole shot 55% and shot 50% from the three-point line in this game, 18 of 36. So they went in there, took care of business, and they needed to because this was the battle game where Donovan Mitchell, he answered Jamal Murray's 50 with his own 44. And Mike Conley had 21 right there. And then they had 5 guys in double figures. So it wasn't like the Jazz were rolling over for this, but everybody on the Nuggets just caught fire. I am waiting for a game like that. The Knicks kind of had a game like that against the Celtics where everyone was contributing. It was just, it was beautiful ball. And I'm expecting, if the Knicks survive tomorrow night, I'm expecting at some point that they are going to have an offensive explosion similar to what they have done during the regular season. Then the Nuggets come back home. And look what happens here. It's a tight game, 80-78. Nuggets pull it out by 2. Look at this. It's low scoring. The Knicks and Pacers had 80 points and 78 points respectively by midway through the third quarter last night. So totally different type of game than they had been playing before. I'm talking about the Nuggets and the Utah Jazz. And in this case, this is the game where Donovan Mitchell struggles. He needed 22 field goal attempts to give them 22 points. Only Rudy Gobert was even close with 19 points himself. But there's an issue with him. Offensively, of course. He doesn't really create his own shots. And then the only other guy in double digits for the Jazz in this game was Jordan Clarkson. But remember, this was a 2-point game, 80-78. And this one, it was the Joker who came through. He came through. He shot 52% overall, 30 points for him, 14 rebounds. Jamal Murray didn't have a great game. He needed 21 field goal attempts to give them to score 17 points. And then Michael Porter Jr. was the only other one in double figures. So very similar, but at the end, the Denver Nuggets were playing at home, much like the Knicks could have an opportunity to play at home in Game 7. So this is the blueprint. It's possible. It's been done. And if there's a team that has already proven historically that they can pull off comebacks, miraculous ones, the New York Knicks have done it in games twice against the Celtics. They came back from a 20-point deficit. They were down 14 against the Pistons in the first round and went on a infamous 21-0 run. They came back in Game 3 behind Cat's big 20-point fourth quarter outburst. So these guys have it in them. The ingredients are there. It's just a matter of which ingredients that they are going to highlight and focus on. And focus is a key word. Focus is a key word. All right, let's get back to this. All right. Look at this. Shout out to Knicks Muse. Did these guys have their eyes open last night? TJ McConnell stepping out of bounds right there. That is so far out of bounds, especially when you watch the video. It's clear he's out of bounds. It's right there. He's out of bounds. Josh Hart got called for an out of bounds on the right side, and that was at a crucial time. That was another one of his turnovers that he committed. From NBA Stat, tonight, this was last night, Tyrese Halliburton had 15 assists and 0 turnovers. The entire Knicks roster had 17 assists and 17 turnovers. That's just going to kill you. That's just going to shoot you in the foot. Shout out to Tyrese, but man, that was brutal. All right. Now this highlights a section of the game, and it's going to send us to look at the videos because we're going to be discussing this part because this was a key sequence in the fourth quarter, midway through the fourth quarter, where the Knicks committed 4 fouls that were called against the Knicks in just 12 seconds. And it led to, basically it just stalled out our ability to make a comeback at that time. Now, the Knicks were able to cut the deficit down to 6 or 5 or 6 later on in the fourth quarter, but every time you were trying to, it's like you're trying to climb up this hill, scale up a mountain, and someone just rolls a boulder down on you. And then you got to just scramble, get back down, get out of the way of the boulder, and start reclimbing. But meanwhile, a clock is ticking. So you're running out of time. Time was the enemy last night. Let's get to these highlights. All right, so now we're looking at the end of the second quarter. The end of the second quarter, you can see the Knicks have a lead, 64-63. And I believe it's the last lead the Knicks have in the entire game with 1 minute and 31 seconds left, and the ball is in their hands. Ball is in their hands right there. Let me turn off the audio here. So the ball is in their hands, and then here we go. The pass, and what does McCall do? Look what he does. He doesn't go up. He doesn't. He could have gotten a foul call. He could have gotten an and one. No pressure on the rim. He had Nesmith beat, and he does a turnaround. That is weak basketball. And the other thing is, when I was younger, coming up in advertising, I was kind of cocky, and I was like, no, I'm going to do things my way. I have my way. It'll work. It'll work. And my boss said, all right, if you are going to do it your way, you better make sure you don't fail, because we're all counting on you. In my case, I rarely ever failed, but I knew when to pick and choose my battles. This was an absolutely major blunder right there. Major blunder. It was weak, and it emboldened the Pacers right there. And you're up. This is the motivation the Pacers needed. This was the chum in the water. And this is what led to them basically closing out on a 6-1 run there to finish the first half up 5 points after they had been down 1. Here, let's keep going here. So they get the ball, they come up, and here's the next play. So they scored on that play. So now Knicks are down 1. Come around here. OG misses this 3, but I want to show you guys something here. Look at Mitch. Why can't Mitch get this rebound here? Oh, wait a second. Isn't Bradley completely hooking Mitch's arm and pulling him down? Doesn't that look familiar if you watched the game last night? Didn't that happen to Cat all the time? And didn't Cat also do it? How come there's not a foul call right here? This is a foul. This is a foul right here. Wait, let me go back even further so you can see it all the way. There you go. Here it is. He's being grabbed, pulled, and I was like, wait a second. How did Mitch not get that offensive rebound? So now they come down, 49 seconds left. Nesmith shoves completely. That is an offensive foul any day of the week. That is not a flop. That is an offensive foul. That is what Thibodeau was talking about in his post-game comments. No foul. And then 2 points for them. So now they're up 3. 67-64. Now the Knicks have it with 37 seconds left in the first half. Here we go. Mitch sets the screen. Nice screen. This is usually a good shot, a good make right here. I have no issues with this attempt. I like it, but I think that's Bradley closing out. Bradley is closing out pretty strong on him, and I wish that Brunson had, when he curled, he didn't come up so close to the three-point line, giving him a little bit of extra space, as you can see right here. See, you'll see a play later on where Tyrese Halliburton, he doesn't crowd the three-point line. He's like 3 feet behind it, and he shoots because he needs that, because he knows what he needs to be able to get a good look off. And here, Brunson, I think at first Brunson thought he was going to get into the paint, but then he saw the switch. He saw Bradley come around, and I don't know how big Bradley is, but he's the center right here in this for the Pacers at this moment. So now Brunson's only about a foot behind, but his momentum carries him forward. See? So the space is gone, and he shorts it because he felt the presence of Bradley there to block him. Usually that's a make, but that's a mistake that Brunson made in terms of how far he went towards the three-point line. But whatever, you're going to live with that. I like that he made that attempt because it would have tied the game at that time. But again, look who's on the floor on the right, Mitch. No offensive rebound. And why is he on the floor? Halliburton is grabbing him and pushing him, shoving him. All right. What can we do? So now they come down to this end. And look at this. And why is this happening? Because it's a 5-on-4. Mitch is in the back court trying to get up. And now they have an open look, and you're gonna give the guy, and also look at, is that who is that? Is that Deuce there? Who is getting mauled by Bradley next to Josh Hart there, right under the basket to the right? Someone is yanking him, and then now Hart. Why is Hart so far down there? I have no idea. And then easy look for Nesmith, but he doesn't make it. But we don't get the defensive rebound. Mitch just begins to appear now. Mitch is our rebounder. So they get a second chance opportunity, and look at this. Now the defense is completely discombobulated, and Mitch makes a big mistake of not shifting over to completely get in front of Tyrese Halliburton. He stays on Halliburton's side, so that it gives Halliburton the vision and the ability to bounce past this to, I think that is Bradley. Bradley puts it back. So now, that hurt so much. So here we go. Now, that was at the end of the first half. So the Knicks were down 5, 69-64. So you think, okay, they're going to come out 69-64. This is their last half, possibly right here, to be able to come back 2-2. It was a must-win game, in terms of the structure of a 7-game series. So here we are. Boom, boom, boom. Pascal. Okay, now Cat just bites right there. And then he comes, he wasn't completely focused on who he was guarding. Pascal, really, his game is not go from the three-point line, drive all the way to the basket. He doesn't usually do that. He tries to get this situation where he either does a turnaround, creates some space, fall-away jumper, mid-range, and this is exactly what he did, and Cat just slides back, gets burned right there. So now it's 71-64. Knicks are down 7. All right, here we go. What's going to happen here? Oh, I bet a turnover. Look at this. Totally telegraphed the pass. Right? Tyrese didn't even move. It's not like Tyrese jumped into the lane. He just put his hand up. The pass was right there. Right to him. And now the only defender back is Brunson. Boom. Slam. 3-on-1. Now, so Knicks started out the second half down 5. Now they're immediately down 9. So what do you think? You think right here, okay, now we're gonna get those points right back. Instead, McCall forgets who's in front of him, throws it, and McCall steals it right in front of him. And then, they didn't score in that one, luckily. But look how much time goes. And now Cat drives in, misses. He claims he was fouled. Mitch is running up the court. They're on a fast break. So that was a totally empty possession right there. It's still a 9-point game. 10:15 left. McCall shorts it. Mitch can't get that ball. Something was happening. It felt like his feet were nailed to the hardwood last night. Like he was wearing those gravity boots that you see in space stations. Like he didn't have the spring that he normally has. So I can see why Thibs was like, you know what? I don't think Mitch has it this game, but you've got to go with the guys who are your best defenders. So in this case, Mitch misses that. They get it. And now McCall, that's a shot McCall has to make. He has to make that shot. We saw Siakam make his mid-range shot. McCall, you got to make yours. So here we are, 10 minutes in. 10 minutes left in the third quarter, 2 minutes in. Turner sets a pick. It wasn't even that big a pick. Wasn't even that much of a pick. McCall immediately loses connection with Halliburton. He doesn't fight over the pick. He doesn't stick to Halliburton the way he should. And now Halliburton gets an open look, but he misses. Knicks managed to get this rebound here. So now you're like, okay, what can we do here? So this is the possession, the next part of that. Brunson brings it down the lane, and really tough attempt. And the reason I have this one here is because this is where Brunson needs to look for his co-all-star, Cat. He knows Cat said the pick for him, the screen at the top. He knows, and he can't feel that two guys are right there. This is where, I mean, he should spin right now. Stop, spin, and that would bring Nesmith to him to double team, and he could just kick it over to Cat for a wide open three. Instead, he forces it and doesn't make it. Shorts it again. So now, these are empty possessions that Knicks have had. That's the third empty possession right now. And you're down 9. And here, this is the worst of all. Look at the mental breakdown here. I think that's Nembhard holding OG right there. And now Siakam pulls in, but Mitch is forced to go and help on Siakam and leaves Miles Turner, one of the better shooting, three-point shooting centers in the game, wide open in the right corner. And now the Knicks are down 12. And even though the Knicks were able to still come back to some degree, get the deficit down to 6, and I think to 5 a couple of times later on in the third quarter, this is another boulder heading down. They have to reset and start going back up the hill. Now, let's look at the next set. So that sequence there, the end of the second quarter to the first 2 or 3 minutes of the third quarter, the Knicks went from up 1 to down 12. A 13-point swing right there without the Knicks scoring a single point in that period of time. Now here we are towards the close of the third quarter. The close of quarters was atrocious last night. Here we are. The Knicks fought back though. Now you're back. You've wiped out all that horrific beginning to the second half, and now you're back to just down 5, and you are in the bonus, not Indiana. There's 3:47 left right here. There we go. Oh, sorry. No. Where'd he go? Here we go. Oh, wait. Did I miss one? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I got a lot of videos here. All right. Again, let me pause the music. So here we go. All right. So now McCall is on Halliburton. Swings around. We get the rebound. Nice. Good defensive stance right there. So we can play some defense. And here we go. And Cal once again. I like that we went to McCall, but if McCall isn't feeling it, then this could be another more wasted possessions right here, in my opinion. So here we go. He kicks it over, but what does Hart do? Instead of shooting the 3, he should have shot the 3 right there. Instead, he steps out of bounds. Remember the clip I showed you before, the image I showed you before that Knicks Muse put out of TJ McConnell stepping out of bounds? They didn't call that, but they call this. Boom. Kills the possession. Turnover. Momentum killer right there. Now there's 3 and change left. Tyrese goes right down the middle and finishes. Now Knicks are down 7. Brunson comes up, and he gets the ball stolen by Tyrese. That has to be, for one, lack of awareness of Brunson on his part. And who else? How come none of the other players are talking to him? How come there's no communication? Hey, watch your back. Watch your back. Nothing. So, turnover. Now the Pacers are starting to pump their chests. They had given up a lead that they had built up, a 12-point lead, and it had been cut down to 5. So now they're trying to rebuild it. It's at 6 points now with under 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Bad pass by Nesmith. So make up for it. Brunson makes up for his blunder. We get the ball back. Nice. Okay. We're all right. We're going like, okay, what can we do here? So now Cat has it. Pass, and then Deuce. Instead of Deuce putting up a little floater, he tries to pass it out to the corner, and Obi Toppin's right there. Steals it. And what do they do with this steal? There we go. Brings it up. Turner, miss. But look, a foul. A foul on Obi Toppin. Now remember the non-fouls that weren't called on Mitch. Down low under this exact basket. Now Hart gets called for this foul. I think that was a bad call. That was not truly a foul on Josh Hart right here. And there's several of those. So, excuse me. So even though Hart was frustrating last night, he definitely did get called for some fouls that were not fouls or shouldn't have been fouls at this time of the game right now, where we are right now in the Eastern Conference Finals. And now here we go. Mathurin brings it up. He gets called. Hart gets called for a foul there on Mathurin. Mathurin. Here, now he brings it around. Now the Knicks are down 7 with a minute left. TJ McConnell swings it over. Tyrese Halliburton. Look at this. Brunson bites on it. He's back. But why is he trying? Why is he trying to backpedal? What's he trying to do with Obi? I have no idea. Instead of going back, he should have gone up. I think he was thinking that Obi was going to set a screen, and he was going to try to go under the screen, which is why it's not good to go under screens. He should have stayed up, closed that space on Halliburton. Boom! Look at this. Look how much space Halliburton has right here. It's a really far shot. It's a risky shot, but not for him. He makes those all the time. He sets up, comfortable shot, straight on, buries the 3, and now they're up by 10 with 50-something seconds left. Oh, all of these things could have been avoided. Could have been avoided. Now, let's look at the fourth quarter. Okay. So now we're in the fourth quarter. Knicks are down 12. That was the close to the third quarter, by the way. Close to the third quarter. Knicks had cut the lead in half, back to 5, and they let it go back up to, I think it was, they were down 11 going into the fourth quarter. So now here we are, just under 9 minutes left in the game. Shamet is on the court. Deuce is on the court. Or is it Deuce? Shamet, I think Hart. Yeah. So here we go. Okay. Here we go. So here, that was called on Towns. Offensive foul on Towns right there. That's it. Ridiculous. TJ drives in. The Knicks get the ball back. Nice. Good defense. Good hands. Active hands. Oh, it's DeLon Wright. That's what it is. DeLon Wright and Shamet is on the court with Hart, OG, and Cat. Interesting unit. OG drives in. Corner 3. Clanks. OG gets it. Gets blocked. But did he get blocked? Did he actually get blocked? Let's go to this. Let me show you guys this. Here it is. Boom! Look. Ooh, he hits his head. Siakam completely manhandles, just completely cracks OG's skull and gets no call. No call. And you saw the ticky-tack fouls on the other end that were called on Josh Hart and ridiculous fouls on Cat. And this was not called. This no call was the most egregious according to Knicks Muse. The Knicks had just been called for 4 touch fouls in 12 seconds, and then this goes uncalled. Unbelievable. Unbelievable is right. All right. So, and then, but Cat gets it back. And look, he can't. When is the last time you ever saw Cat miss a shot like that? There were so many bunnies. So many layups, and I want to focus mostly on the first half on that. I think there were at least maybe 8 layups that were missed in that first half. Right at the rim by all players. Like Brunson missed some. Cat missed some. Mikal Bridges definitely missed several. He did like a turnaround under the basket. Totally whiffed it. I mean, you fight so hard to get those opportunities, and you don't make them. Those are high percentage shots. You should be making those at like a 70% rate when you're trying to make a comeback. This is just, it's just so disappointing right here. And I think it's the energy level too. It's just so low. So now Mathurin, watch this here. All right. Oh, so OG slams into Mathurin. That was a foul for sure. So here, watch this here. So now Mathurin is trying to drive around Hart. Cat can't close out quick enough. And then Mathurin literally slips and falls into Josh Hart. And guess what happened? That was called a foul. That was called a foul. That was Mathurin falling into Josh Hart and forcing him to fall over him. That was a foul on Mathurin, not on Josh Hart. But it didn't get called that way. So here we go. And almost immediately, look what happens here. What was that? Was like a ticky-tack foul that gets called on DeLon Wright. Oh, no. Was it on Cat? I can't even remember at this point. Look at the foul trouble the Knicks were all in. Here, another one. Crazy. Mathurin is wild, out of control, flailing his body into Josh Hart. I think that's another dubious foul call. Now the Knicks are down 14 with 7:42 left in the game. And what does Mikal Bridges do? Completely telegraphs. He's already looking. He's looking at the corner and then passes it to him. That's not how you pass. You get the ball. You know, like, you don't look and then pass. If you look, you got to pass it immediately. If you had done it right away, it may not have been a turnover. Let's go back. Sorry about that. Watch that play completely. Here we go. Oh, turnover. And he gets it to Siakam. They come up. Oh, but then we get the ball back. So, like, okay, maybe that wiped that out. But it doesn't. Ah, man. OG misses that. That was a key bucket we needed. And that was that sequence right there. All those fouls, all those ridiculous fouls, that is what Knicks Muse was talking about here. That was that. You just watched that sequence right there. So Knicks are trying to make a comeback, and they literally are getting just bludgeoned by these ridiculous foul calls. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. Now we're going to look at the close of the game, or near it. So now the Knicks, with all that has happened, they're still just 2 possessions from tying this game with about 3 minutes left. They have fought. So they have it in them to make comebacks. We know that for sure. But look at this. Here we are. It's 120-114. 120. Well, let me mute the sound here on this again. All right, here we go. Them hard misses here. But where is the rebound? Where is Mitch Robinson? This is where Thibs screwed up. Where is Mitch Robinson there? We need him for that. Then we come in. This is the charging foul that was called. Now that was called a charging foul. Nesmith got away with a charging foul on Brunson, and then that right there. Okay, let me pause that there. That play that was originally called a foul on Towns, but then it was reviewed, and Thibs the Knicks won that one. Towns was pushed by Turner into, I guess it was Mathurin, and they collided knees, or maybe it was Nesmith. I can't remember. They collided knees, and that is going to be a major concern. But I have heard that Cat is listed as questionable for tomorrow, but I've also heard that he's most likely going to play. So yeah, that is somewhat good news. That is good news, actually. Totally good news. But you can't pull off a comeback like the Knicks need to do to become the 14th team to do it without Karl-Anthony Towns on the court. So here we go. Mikal whiffs that. All right. Empty possession. Mikal comes around. Another one. Misses that. Knicks cannot secure the rebound. Where is Mitchell Robinson? This is when Mitch is most needed right now. Thibs did it in game 3. He kept bringing Mitch back in. Same with Deuce. Where's Deuce? Where is Deuce? Deuce is not here at all. Instead of Mikal taking those empty threes, it could have been Deuce. Deuce is a good 3-point shooter. He hit one from the corner, I think. Yeah. He didn't have a great game offensively, but Deuce is a plus player no matter what, in any way, shape, or form. Here we go. I can't remember what happened there at the end. So now they're trying to inbound the ball. Look at this inbound play. Hart gets called for the foul. That was a stupid one. He just kind of tripped into him. And that's when Hart fouled out. So now Shamet replaces him. Again, no Deuce. Again, no Mitch Robinson. In a game, in a situation where you need stops, definitely need stops. You need makes, of course, but you need stops. You have Towns and Brunson, your two best offensive weapons. So bring in Mitch. Bring in Deuce. So this was interesting. Here we go. McCall gets it. Heaves it. No. Another clanker. Wow. Now, McCall did hit some big threes. I'm not showing those. So he did hit some big threes. But when you take those, when you're trying to make a comeback, when your whole season is pretty much on the line, you've got to make them, man. You've got to make it. You got to square up and let it fly with confidence and make those buckets, especially from the corners. You're supposed to be one of the best three-point shooting, corner three-point shooting players in the NBA. So here we go. I can't remember what happened in this play. Oh, Pascal just turns around, but nice. Oh, I put this in here. Nice defense from Shamet. Just want to highlight that. Pascal was eating up Josh Hart when he was out there. Josh Hart was just not good defensively. Shamet did a nice job there. That's why I showed that. So here we get the loose ball, but what happened there? I can't remember what happened at that point. So Knicks are down 7. It's 3 possessions. Okay, out of bounds. Nice defensive stance by Brunson right there. 47 seconds left, and this is the killer. How does Obi Toppin get wide open on an inbound play from the baseline for an open 3? Boom. Game over. Game over. That was it. Wow. Jesus. All right. Tommy Beard tweeted this out. The trio of McBride, Wright, and Shamet were a +8 in Game 3. That 3-man lineup didn't play a second together in Game 4. Why? The trio of Robinson, Shamet, and Hart were a team-high +12 in Game 3. That 3-man lineup didn't play a second together in Game 4. That's just completely unacceptable. And that is on Tom Thibodeau. So here we go. Now, Stephon Bundy tweeted this out. This is what I was saying. Karl-Anthony Towns is listed as questionable for tomorrow's game with a left knee contusion. Aaron Nesmith is again questionable with an ankle sprain. Well, Nesmith played last night. I'm expecting Towns to play. He might be a bit compromised here and there, but maybe that might work out because we need him to be launching more threes. Absolutely. And here, the Eastern Conference. Okay, we'll get to this. We'll get to this later. What I want to get to now is what needs to happen. So I laid the groundwork for you guys. And there really is only one thing that can save these Knicks this season right now. This team needs an attitude and a focus reset to a defense-first mentality. Scoring is not the issue with these Knicks. You know, they'll get their buckets over a course of 48 minutes. You know, they just will. They've already scored 471 points in this series, but they've allowed 482 over the first 4 games. And last night they lost by 9. Through the first 3 games, only 2 points separated the two teams. So it's not like the Pacers are high-flying, outscoring the Knicks and just, embarrassing them that way. It's not happening like that. The Knicks are scoring, lighting the Pacers up themselves. They lit them up for 135 points in Game 1. So offense is not really the issue in reality. Yes, I showed you some possessions that were empty here and there, but in general, offense is not the issue. It comes down to defense. It all comes down to defense. They've shown that they can lock up an offense for long stretches in key games. Hence what they did to Boston, that 8-minute drought that they pushed Boston in. And it wasn't because Boston was missing open looks. It was just excellent defense from the Knicks. They have spurts where they can be a very good defensive team. And when they put their 100% focus on that end, that's when that can happen. Last night, it looked like they were trying to outscore Indiana, especially in the beginning. Both teams were shooting 62% in the first quarter. Knicks were trying to match them bucket for bucket because they weren't slowing the Pacers down. They let the Pacers play their game, a high speed, high octane game where they force turnovers and they get out on the fast break and they punish you like that. The Knicks need to focus on a defensive end. And the way to do that is basically it's just mental reset time. Once your mindset changes, everything on the outside will change along with it. That is reality. You got to change your mindset. This team needs to become a defense-first mindset team. Sounds crazy, right? Well, that is how they have to do it to win this series against the Indiana Pacers. They cannot sit there and worry about what they're doing on the offensive end so much as they do right now. They overthink things and they're a little too slow getting into their sets, and they're allowing the Pacers to dictate the pace of this game. The Knicks need to slow this thing down to a crawl, not make stupid fouls, protect the ball at all costs. Protect the ball at all costs and no stupid fouls. Karl-Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, no dumb fouls. And Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, you guys have to reach within yourselves and find that those defensive demons that you are and have been in the past. You need to fight over screens, stick to your men, not lose track of the ball, not lose track of your guy at the same time. Always see your man and the ball at the same time, like Clyde always says. And he's right. And you have shown the ability to do it. And we need more Mitch. We need more Deuce. We need more DeLon Wright and more Shamet. Thibs even went 10 deep last night in the first half, but then abandoned that in the second half. We didn't see DeLon Wright and Shamet at all in the third quarter until it was very, I think we didn't see him at all in the third quarter. It's like, I don't understand what he was thinking last night. But what he needs to be focused on is defense first. Get your best defenders on the court as much as possible. You're going to need Cat and Brunson, and keep Brunson and Cat away from each other as long as you can. The Knicks need to become a defensive dynamo team. And OG Anunoby, he needs to become more verbal. He needs to. Mitch already admitted he's the one who sets the tone verbally. Well, Mitch, you got to do it too. Everybody's got to talk to each other. More communication. Be connected. Don't give your opponent space. Harass them. Game 3 was the lowest scoring game of this series, and the Knicks won it. The Knicks cannot win a shootout against the Indiana Pacers. They get too comfortable. They're great in the open floor, and they also find their guys out on the perimeter. So that is the key. Everything should be shifting to a defensive first mindset. That has to be done. That's it. It's time for that. It is time for a defensive mindset change for the New York Knicks, for them to be able to get this to a game 7. But it begins with game 5, and the Knicks at MSG, they have to do everything possible to win that game. I believe they can do it. I believe it's totally possible. I've shown you. The Nuggets have done it. Other teams have done it. 13 other teams have done it. Nuggets did it twice in that 2000 series, 2000 playoffs. So it's definitely within possibility. No, and this team has shown that they are fighters. They can be relentless, and they are kind of like zombies. They're hard to kill. So the Pacers know that as well. They know that a team with their head on the chopping block is the hardest type of team to beat. Now, they were able to do it against Cleveland, but this Knicks team is very different than that Cleveland team. This Knicks team has proven that they can they can deliver when they need to. They defeated the Boston Celtics, the reigning champions. They defeated a very difficult, tough Detroit Pistons team. And the New York Knicks are poised to make history. And I believe that Tom Thibodeau is going to set the tone defensively. It's his wheelhouse. They must go with defense first and cut down the stupid mistakes. And the Knicks will win Game 5 and get this to 3-2 and send this to Indiana for Game 6 on Saturday. All right. Thank you so much for watching this. I really appreciate it. My name is George. Please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button for me. And drop your comments. I want to hear your thoughts and feelings about all this. Sorry this video ran long. Had a lot to say. And man, I've recovered from the devastation of last night. I know the odds are against us, but there is a 4.4% chance that the Knicks can do it. And the Knicks have the type of team that can do it. It's very similar to that Denver Nuggets team. Very similar. Brunson I mean, Murray went on crazy in that playoffs, but Brunson, he's averaging the most points of anybody in the playoffs. Joker, yes, he's a unique special player, but Karl-Anthony Towns has a lot of those abilities that Joker has. Not the playmaking, not the passing, but in terms of the rebounding, the shot making, he has all of that. He's not quite the defender that Joker is, but he doesn't necessarily need to be that. Actually, he can be as good as Joker defensively. We've seen him do that, especially late in games. It's right there. It's right there for these New York Knicks. They just need to go out there and grab it. All right. I will see you around the Knicks-Verse. Let's go. Let's win Game 5.